Once upon a time, long after PonPon, the now legendary band Reposado traveled to Puerto Rico. This trip would be pivotal, for on this trip, the band's heartbeat, its PonPon, would be changed forever. My grandfather was there. I discovered his archives from this seminal trip and would like to share his findings with you. Given the strangeness and abstractions encountered, it is difficult to tell where reality ends and imagination begins.
I don't know about this guy.
To be vertical.
I don't know about this guy.
Oh.
If you don't know, y'all came to a show. We are Reposado.
Yo, make sure to put a little money in the hat.
Yo, let's
Show some love. Hey, yo, y'all got your dance shoes on? Y'all got your dance shoes on. It's about to get dancey in here. We gotta see some hips swinging. Swinging. Hey, yo, Sam. Come a little closer. Come on here. Come on. Yeah.
There is an evil at work. It grows within the soul of every human. It has forced love into its most vulnerable condition in generations. For eternity, this battle has raged. Since the beginning of time, unconditional love and darkness have been in constant struggle. Every generation must fight this battle, and it is long overdue. Of late, the darkest forces have redoubled their efforts, and darkness is as strong as we've ever known. You are our final hope to fight back these evils. Echoes, vibrations, your ancestors lie in wait, deep in your soul, waiting for the proper moment. Evil's ancient tools, greed, hatred, fear, division, envy, blind consumerism, and complacency have brought humankind to the edge of existence. Your ancestors come to you now with a mission. It is up to you to harness these ancient vibrations to help show the world the path to peace lies within their soul. You are our final chance.
I can feel our time slipping away. Time to call my pops. I gotta tell him. It's time to take the fellas to Puerto Rico. My bills, like everyone. My girl, our brand new child. Life, shit. Life is amazing. But if I want to do more than just survive, this music on the street, it fills my soul. It doesn't pay the bills. We've come a long, long way. times are different. It's time to say something. We need one final piece. We need to start something. The fellas, they need to be exposed to the sounds. They need to be exposed to the Caribbean. Actually show up and be there. Feel it vibrating in the soil, the air. Ancestors' vibrations captured in the treetops and filtered into the water. And the soil that vibrates and tells you you're in Puerto Rico. Is it just a dream? Is this
You know Francis Bacon? Francis Bacon, I like his work a lot. So he did a portrait of one of his boyfriends, and it's him in a bicycle. I always like that thing. So this comes from there. I mean, the idea,
the concept,
but this is in the air, you know. Elisam Escobar Ortiz. I was born in May 24, 1948 in Ponce. I studied in the University of Puerto Rico. I studied art in fine arts, and I moved to New York City in the 70s. I lived there in the 70s.
Hey, Jay. Good, good. How are things with you? Awesome. Having a great time here. So what's going on?
It's time to take the fellas to Puerto Rico.
Wow. Okay. Well, actually, I think you should stay in school, man. I mean, that's what we talked about before, right?
That's crazy, man. I mean, like, you know, the money we're giving you, that money is for the school. We're not gonna give you money just for you to go out on tour and play music. You gotta guarantee your future, right? School is the way to go.
You should commit to school, and that's plan number one.
Anyway, I went to go meet up with him on Monday. And he said, yo, I got you with food and shit. And he made me pay for it. I was tight.
Nah,
It's not a good sign, but... So I don't know what... Maybe he forgot. He was probably drunk. He said, come through. I'll take care of you, do some food or something like that. Like,
But did you pull out your card? I would have just walked away from the food. I'm eating.
when I'm about to order, he's like, I got you with the drinks.
I hear you, but you know how many people struggle with music? Have you ever looked into that? Yeah, man, but you got a kid, you gotta man up. You gotta pay the rent, you gotta pay the bills. Look where you're living now. You need a bigger place. How are you gonna do all this? Doing music. I'm telling you, John, you better stay in school because I don't think you're gonna get the support your mom and I, you know, at least financially.
I'm gonna take you to places where it's a lot of street food.
Yo, you ain't trying to eat?
Exactly.
I'm broke, motherfucker. I'm broke.
It all echoes.
I'm broke.
Nah, you've been working too hard to be broke, man.
Because it's all in savings.
I also, I think we should try and do that.
Dude, take no for
I bought chicken, and I bought fertile sauce and pasta and rice. And I got beans, chicken, fish, and shit.
JP talked to you about
Looking on Friday.
No, man, I'm trying to eat, man. Y'all ain't trying to eat?
Well, if you pay for my food, yeah.
Lend you money.
I can pay.
He was saying like that.
But it's up to him.
What he was talking about
Because
specifically
he's
is
a car
like,
man.
I live beside her.
and then we.
Here's my name.
Building.
Are you trying to go eat or what? I talked to him about that.
No, not in the places you want to go to.
Where you trying to go?
He was mentioning to me
A
tonight.
couple spots where you can maybe like
What about
down for Loretta's.
that place that's in Green Lake? It's right.
Well, that's a different thing.
Beth?
Like, JP.
The one that's right in Aurora.
Yeah, Beth.
Vets, yeah.
Yo, you and I were talking about.
That's not far from here.
I had a friend that I had one of the people in the kitchen that worked at Vets.
I ain't been Beth's in like 20 years.
How many?
20.
Holy shit!
It's been a while.
That's as old as I am.
I'm never up here.
All right, let's go.
I was 8 years old when you last went.
All right, Beth's.
Doing in the back, you know.
Bet.
Beth's.
Have a good night.
Wait, no.
He's going to Beth's.
Bye, guys.
You going Beth's?
I thought so.
You going to Beth's? You going to Beth's?
See, this is like what I kept doing. We're here with my man Jordan.
Yeah,
About to move to Italy.
that's me. I'm not moving to Italy, but I'm going to Italy.
Moving to Oakland,
Yeah,
via Italy.
yeah,
Shit. So what you know about that band Reposado?
man. Reposado is like a spiritual experience, you know?
Yeah. I heard they used to play at this place over here called Nemo's. Back in the day, they used to have like a standing gig. They play there like once a month or something like that. Did you hear about that? Remember those days?
I mean, I haven't heard of it, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I
I heard you were
remember,
in the band for a minute.
I remember that shit, man. Yeah, that was my first gig.
Was that your first gig?
Yeah, what was it? Molly McGuire's. Circa fucking, it's like 2016 or something.
Yeah. What were they doing back then?
Same shit, man. Same shit they're always doing, inspiring motherfuckers. So
Yeah.
Just like, just make some noise and shit. I stood up on his fucking stool for those guys.
I heard it was just that guy. What was his name? What was the singer's name? Fuck is that guy's name? JP or?
Yeah.
Yeah, fancy name or something.
Yeah, some French. I don't know. But like,
I can't remember what he was going back by then.
I don't know, but whatever he's doing, man, he just brought people together.
Yeah.
And like, brought me together with you. You know?
Hell yeah. That's where it all started. The hummingbird.
Hummingbird.
But I hear a
What was
crowd.
before that? It's the fucking taproot.
Do you hear that crowd? I think they're going on now.
Is that? Is it the same rip?
I think they heard Reposado. I heard. We better not hang out here too long.
Yeah,
we might miss Reposado.
We should go back in there and check them out.
I like reposado. Like it's like a service from a church.
Yeah.
Reposado. Reposado. Like when you leave, you know, when you leave something like right there and it gets cold or it gets like, you know, forgotten, like this reposado right there. Yeah.
Let me tell you about Jean-Paul Bouillet's
Reposado. I have a long history with Reposado. It all started back about 4 years ago. I was living in the trailer in White Center, pushing green for a living. Driving an old 7.7 Continental in a big body 85 limousine with a 7.7 F-250 with a 400 mid-block. Then a man named Jean-Paul Bouillet walks into my trailer with an acoustic guitar and a fancy hat on. Next thing you know, this Colombian angel starts singing songs about Miami. What do? I take a fat rip out the bong and bust the craziest freestyle the man ever heard in his life. Handed him a shot of Reposado. From that moment on, hermanos. We ended up having a little jam, you know, a couple days later with our buddy Evan McPherson, amazing guitarist from Seattle, and then we kept jamming and jamming the music. The vibes kept growing, and eventually he said, T, you gotta come and jam on a drum set. I had my first jam on a drum set up in Bellevue. That changed my life forever. Right after that, I was like, bro, we ain't paying for no rehearsal setups. I need to buy a drum set. He told me, if you get a drum set, your house will be the jam spot. Next thing you know, I buy a drum set. He picks up a phone and he calls a man named Joel Rosa from the Bronx, the Boogie Down, the home of hip hop. He says, I met a dude out here who got the best weed you ever seen, spitting crazy freestyles, driving 7.7 Continentals, living in a trailer. You should come out here and we starting a fucking band. Next thing you know, Joel drives 3,000 miles across the country in 3 days, sits down, we have our first jam. Next thing you know, Reposado is alive. And that was just the beginning of the journey, I'll tell you that much. Since that day, it's been growing and growing and growing, and the wave has turned into a tsunami of tequila funk. That is a little bit that I know about Reposado.
This painting is titled La Máquina del Tiempo, Time Machine. If you see, there is this image there. It's like a clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since when you are in prison, time becomes a very present thing. You know. Time is one of the things that define a prisoner, right? So in this painting, I try to converge the idea of escaping prison. The figure is a little bit distorted, and the face is more realistic, right?
See that?
And it seems I was put there, and then el lazo de la horca.
The noose.
The noose. Also symbolic about how you broke that, and it symbolized to escape prison. So it, in a way, it's autobiographical, right?
Yeah.
But also it's more universal in the sense of freedom.
A man they call John Paul. Word is he's been playing in clubs.
What's wrong with this?
But
sounds good.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jean-Paul Bouillet.
That's it. What I want to talk about is legend. Because
My brother.
Because I heard so many stories about Jean-Paul. He can't be the same person. So many things happen to that guy.
I can tell you, I personally have crossed through over 30 states with Jean-Paul Bouillet. I've seen the man dancing on the streets of Havana, Cuba. I've seen the man rocking a borrica in Puerto Rico. Y las posibilidades, the possibilities with this man are limitless. He taught me the perfection inside the imperfection. You could take a moment, someone will look at his old beat down, broken brick wall and turn that into a beautiful piece of art.
Art is my action. I will not sit silent and wonder, what am I doing? Where's my action? Am I doing enough? It's how you fight, and it's why you fight. You must always be vigilant. Imagine the world through someone else's eyes. I found myself avoiding Ponce. I could not bring myself to believe. The trouble with learning history is how to handle your relationship with it. And for it. Who should pay? How? Are my father's crimes also my own? How about my great-grandfather's? Where does the responsibility start? Where does it end? Maybe all we really need is recognition. That is where we start. One thing for sure, we don't get anywhere by running from it. We're avoiding it. We're defending it. We need to look it in the eye, head on, confront it. And then we can start to heal. In 1937, in the city of Ponce, Puerto Rico's second largest city, on a calm and beautiful Palm Sunday, people from all over the island gathered, wearing their best clothing on this very holy day. Over the previous couple of years, the workers had been gaining power. The government and the Domino Sugar was frightened. They would not accept another shutdown like the one a few years previous, the one that saw the workers demanding a raise in pay from their poverty wage of 45 cents.
So do you feel like Puerto Rico's in prison?
Basically, it's a prison of nations and nationalities.
Mm-hmm.
And they took the land from the Indians and from the Mexicans,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And now they are outlaw, one way or the other.
The police of the island, some believe at the prompting of the U.S. government, intended to send a message to the workers who were gaining confidence in their power. The marcher's permit was canceled at the very last minute, after people had already begun to gather from across the island. At the parade site, police surrounded the marchers and opened fire, shooting and killing indiscriminately. Young children, their grandparents. The police shot for 13 minutes. By the time they'd finished, 17 men, 1 woman, and a 7-year-old girl were dead. Over 200 people were wounded that day.
Thank you so much. We love you guys. We love the support. Thank you so much. If you're tall as shit, you got cross-eyed, big eyes, small eyes, wide eyes, I don't care. Everybody struggle, everybody feels pain. Everybody struggle, everybody feels pain. Everybody struggle, everybody feels pain. Everybody struggle, everybody feels
Puerto Rican, Mexican origin, and indigenous women who've been sterilized under federally funded welfare programs. And doctors have used multiple ploys to force or coerce sterilization. Sometimes hysterectomies and tubal ligations are done without any consent at all or even knowledge of the procedure. But probably more often, women are tricked into signing consent forms, by lying to them about some aspect of the procedure, like it's reversible, or in the case of these hundreds of thousands of women sterilized in the 1960s and 70s, threatening them that they were going to be denied welfare benefits or health care.
This is recent history too. California banned sterilizations in prison without consent in 2014, but that was after this campaign of sterilizing women in prison, which included hysterectomies very similar to the ones described in this complaint. Why in modern day, I know you're explaining about population control, but why a prison would sterilize a woman during these times?
Well, these ideas still circulate in the United States today. We can hear it in arguments against immigration, that women are coming to the United States to have babies. It's part of welfare policy. There are many states that deny any increase in benefits to people who have babies after they're already receiving public assistance. That is deliberately and explicitly intended to deter them from having children. it's not surprising that you get a policy like there was in California to forcibly sterilize without adequate consent and without state approval incarcerated women who were disproportionately Black and brown women.
And we want to say that ICE says it will investigate this complaint, but that only 2 women have been referred for hysterectomies from Irwin since 2018. So there's definitely lots.
Grandpa's notes were neatly arranged, file upon file, labeled in his own special way. Half of this idea, 2/3 of that. But he left a little roadmap. He knew I would be the one ready to listen. Somehow he knew it would be me. He wrote me this letter. To whoever reads these notes, these are my findings. I am male, of European descent, raised on invisible advantages. And this is what I've learned in a few months about the injustices placed on the people of the island of Puerto Rico. And as James Baldwin said,
speaking on the racism in America. Quote, I don't have a race problem. The white man has a race problem. It is my duty to work towards a greater understanding. This is in hopes that we will know more about Puerto Rico than we did before we talked. I hope you will learn more about this amazing, oppressed place. The people deserve human rights.
That nasty stuff. Say, give me that funk. That good. That nasty stuff. Look, give me that funk. That good. That nasty stuff. Come on. Say, give me that funk.
They would try to take San Juan, take Puerto Rico.
To the Spaniards, like to listen to a fort?
The Spanish built the fort.
Wow.
Not with their hands, but yeah.
Damn.
They had Tainos build this shit. The natives had to build the fort.
Yeah.
And the Africans.
And then in 1954, the U.S. took Puerto Rico from the list of colonial territories. And so the Nationalist Party organized another attack on the Congress in 1954. That's where Lolita Lebrón, Cancel Miranda, Irving Flores, Figueroa were part of that. And so they spent 25 years in prison. In Puerto Rico, you know, we have been fighting for independence since the times of the Spanish invasion. Taino Indians in 1511, they engaged in warfare against the Spanish. in 1898. It was the so-called Spanish-American War. Puerto Rico became a possession of the U.S.
In the year 1787, it was an absolute black night. 7 brothers stood and watched under the silence of a new moon. Just beyond the horizon of San Juan Harbor, 65 British warships began their silent attack with a lone whistle. The whistle cuts through the pounding coastal waves and is heard by one night watchman. He readies his drum and pounds a rhythm of warning to his 6 brothers, who also are on watch, respond with their distinct cadence. Admiral Harvey is confident of the next colonial prize. He's ready to take this unexpected island for the Queen. A stronger navy has never been seen. Villagers hear the drums and know the end is near. They gather their families and head to the harbor for one final prayer. They sing to the ocean. As the ships approach, they begin to hear this distant drumming and song. Crew members quiver with fright. They're directed to hold steady and assured that they held the upper hand. As the ships come within sight of the harbor, the villagers sing with more desperation. The polyrhythms of the drums grow with intensity. Crew members of these British ships had never heard rhythms like this. Their limbs begin to flare and move in ways far beyond their control. Many leapt from their ships in pure madness. Admiral Harvey, who is paralyzed in the frantic chaos. The villagers' cries grow and mix with the drums, and they feel empowered, and they continue to grow. The second in command, Abercrombie, is forced to take control of the fleet and orders a prompt retreat. The villagers greet the morning with delight as the first rays illuminate the retreating fleet. Once again, the power of music, the legend of PonPon, conquers all.
Por ahí me dicen que la vida jode, ¿y qué? Pues si yo jodo más. Di que la vida jode. Pero más cabrón soy yo. Y la vida sigue y va. Y la vida sigue y va. Que la vida sigue y va. Y la vida sigue y va.
Time out.
Listen to that first take.
Time out.
What?
Time out.
Yeah.
Yo, brother. The first part,
Yeah.
improvise. You gotta feel it. It's gonna be weird and it's cool.
Yeah.
You know. The second part, y la vida sigue, go like with like I'm coming with you. I'm about to come with something like like sigue, bah. Like like hit it with the
Okay.
And then the next one is like y la vida sigue, va. Y la vida sigue, like it's
Okay.
just like the last one, va. And then
Alright.
you hit that,
And then
that
come up.
because
Alright.
it kind of like jumps.
$10. He used to say, 10 blocks. You gotta walk 10 blocks before you have a chance at one real thought. We'd find him in the closet, or the car, the guest bedroom, under the covers, with headphones. I was taking notes, he'd say in the morning, over breakfast. Let me tell you about Lolita LeBron. And off he'd go. He was always sneaking off into the park at 2 a.m., talking into his phone. Not to anyone on the other end, just talking into it. Well, he'd say, I just learned about this amazing artist in San Juan, Lisam Escobar. He was a political prisoner for 20 years. He was supportive of Puerto Rico having the same rights that the U.S. demanded from the British over 200 years ago in a much different world. Colonies are a centuries ago thing, right? What about Puerto Rico? Why does it feel so much like a colony?
as it became the United States, there's a line here that's at the heart of all the others. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. People don't talk that way anymore.
Beautiful. Huh. No idea what you said.
It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action. Venice.
On March 1st, 1954, Lolita Lebron, Rafael Miranda, Irving Flores, and Andre Cordero stood in the visitors' gallery at the House of Representatives in Washington. They unfurled the Puerto Rican flag and shouted, "Puerto Rico is not free." Then, taking out handguns, they shot directly into the chamber below, wounding 5 congressmen. They were arrested immediately. Lolita Lebron has been in jail for 23 years. Conrad Lynn was her lawyer in Washington, and then later in New York, where she and many other nationalist leaders were tried for conspiracy.
My defense was basically that this was a dramatic act of protest which was justified because of the illegality of the occupation of Puerto Rico by the United States. The nationalists believed that the United States was illegally in Puerto Rico, and they never recognized the sovereignty of the United States government.
For Lolita Lebron and George Floyd.
Lolita Lebron. For 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We watched the local news for 15 minutes. So much excitement. What happened? What happened? What the hell is happening? There is chaos in the streets. What has happened? What? Some terrorists shot up the Capitol building. They say. Terrorists, they say. What have they been doing? They have been protesting. No mention. Why? No mention. Property damage, they scream. Parts of the city destroyed. Violence. But what about the deaths? What about history? Parts of the city destroyed. Are these phrases practiced and rehearsed? Who repeats the same phrase over and over in 15 minutes on the local news? The one with the slick hair and the perfect suit. Parts of the city destroyed. Destroyed. Why? Who cares? Protesting what? Not a God-forsaken word. Parts of the city destroyed. Which parts? We never are told.
I appreciate y'all bearing witness. That's really what live streaming is about and what it's been about since Black Lives Matter started. You know, people have said it seems like there's more black people being murdered by police. It's just more visible. More people are paying attention. So we really need y'all to step up and make moves on whatever front line you're on. If you are a white person, white supremacy is yours to dismantle. And we are asking you to do that work. We are asking you to step up and do that work. We're asking you to meet us in the streets. But you can't just meet us in the streets so you can say hashtag Black Lives Matter. You need to show up in how you vote. You need to show up around policies. You need to show up in communities. You need to redistribute your wealth and your dollars. You need to help us defund the police. Y'all need to stop calling the police on black people. Look, we've been talking about this Karen incident. Amy Cooper hoped the same thing that happened to George Floyd would happen to Mr. Cooper in Central Park. She knew when she called the cops and said an African-American man is coming for her. And the way she said it, with the tone she said it, and her escalating voice, that something would happen. Or something could happen. White folks, you have a duty, you have a role to do this work, to undo white supremacy, to help undo colonialism. Let's defund the police. Let's move resources into black indigenous communities, because we still have not received reparations or restoration for the harm our communities have suffered since the inception of this country. So I'm gonna stop the live stream. I'll start it again if I wind up somewhere where things are going down. I appreciate y'all for bearing witness. Now take what you know and move forward. It can't just be watching it on Facebook. It can't just be a hashtag. There has to be action. So pay attention to organizers in your area. They'll be posting demands. They'll be posting ways you can get involved.
Because they fucking hate Cubans.
Yeah.
You get jazz, you get rock, and you get blues. You combine all that, and that's why it's called salsa.
What about rumba?
Oh shit. That's why he was born in New York. And it was the New Yorkian culture that created that. That's cool. And then, but Cubans hate that because they say no, where it came from. This is Afro Latin music. We are the root.
There's a lot of these.
They both contain.
Either way, it came from both places.
No, because the truth is that they both have Spanish culture. Well, actually, I was telling them. Do you know where they song? Cuban rhythm, right? It's called a song. That root is called song, right? Where it came from is called canzón. Canzón is very small, it's older, back into 18 something. Where that came from? That came from canzón in Europe. You know who created this? Louis XV, France.
Because
you remember in the courts when they dance like with the ladies and they do this and they do that's French.
Well,
dance. French dance.
Named after
coordinated, where they
It's named after
you see,
named after the country itself.
So Africans, the Spaniards got that from the French, right? Because that came from the French. That it was so popular, it spread through Europe, and then it made it to Spain. Right? So in Spain they have that thing going on too. It made it to Latin America because we take things like the Spaniards, right? And then that mixed with African rhythms. That's what happens. So you see why it's all, you have to partner up. It's all synchronized. It's not just contemporary.
And even I'm sorry. Even the music, like the rhythms are very African, but the harmony and the chords and the melodies are Spanish, are European.
European, correct?
The harmony, how it moves and stuff, it's European. It's a complete mix of worlds. Salsa is like music on steroids. Because it's like, honestly, sometimes it's even like jazz and it's chord progressions and movements. But it's this fucking African rhythm just fucking savagely running through.
I love salsa. So awesome. There's salsa history.
How we got in there, I don't know, but well, this is, you know,
Is there another trash bag?
Rico is
House.
kind of like the salsa.
That trash bag is not from this house.
Other house lady.
You wanna go, probably
I was
go to
looking
Culebra,
forever.
but you have to, I think you have to
It's
fly
not
to Culebra. That's like a little island, and the beach.
Oh yeah, it's south to east.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Vieques, they say Vieques is beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You guys drive around to like an hour and a half.
What's the town right there?
You gotta take the ferry, right? You gotta take the ferry.
What? Culebra?
It's never go out to the port. And there's a big problem with the ferries. There's not enough ferries. It's really slow.
Okay.
It's like you gotta make. If you wanna go, you gotta get there in like 4 a.m.
Shit.
oh shit! Because of the storm and everything, right?
Before that, it's fucked further.
Alright.
Yo, are we doing this?
I'm down.
I'm going to tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to UK?
Yeah.
Hey, Junque.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Is that
We got rain down, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm going first thing in the morning. Hopefully I'll miss the rain.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll bring an umbrella. I can swim, hop in the water with my umbrella. I can drive.
You drive like a swimming?
You saw some of the videos? You saw some of the videos?
We're already swimming.
No? Okay.
Joke. It was a joke.
So did the radio spots.
Speaking of salsa,
Yeah.
do you eat spicy foods in Puerto Rico?
We just been chilling
You
in
like
the
spicy?
water all day.
Oh,
The steak?
They're not big about
steak?
spicy food. But ask for a spice. They
Yeah.
give you.
Don't make salsa.
Fine.
But they're not welcoming you clearly.
Fuck it.
Like Indian or.
That's okay. I'm just kidding.
Thai food is so spicy. I went to Thailand, they go.
You eat everything or you vegetarian?
You don't let me hang out on the couch because I got stinky feet. This is from the Ice Age. Maria Victoria. La historia de Maria Victoria. This is actually my grandmother. You know, she used to play the stand-up bass guitar back in Puerto Rico. And because of her, we met my grandfather and made my mother, which met my father and then made me. That is la historia. Maria Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or whatever. How long are you guys? You're
From WNYC Studios and Futuro Studios, I'm Alana Casanova Burgess, and this is La Brega. In this episode, the people standing on the long waiting line of Puerto Rico's debt and their struggle to collect what the government owes them.
The starting salary for a teacher in Puerto Rico is $1,750 a month, the lowest in the United States. The most recent administrations have given nothing because since the start of the 2006 financial crisis, the public sector has seen budget cuts, salary freezes, and the massive firing of public employees. So the working conditions for teachers only got worse, with little or no institutional support.
It's incredibly refreshing, right? And beautiful that while the actual president of the U.S. was throwing paper towels to Puerto Rico and accusing Puerto Ricans of wanting everything done for them and humiliating Puerto Ricans and deciding, that there was not enough people dead, not even acknowledging the numbers. And it was imperialism just thrown in your face so disgustingly. Like it just, yes, we know you don't care about us, but can you at least pretend, And
it's a kind of old school, like colonial attitude. Obviously, the whole U.S. Puerto Rico relationship is one colonial attitude, but Trump is just very open.
It was disgusting, and it to me, it reminded me so much of Katrina, and I remember how much Katrina hurt, like just to watch people, and mostly black people, be in that situation where their lives just did not matter, and all of a sudden it was us, and it was almost the same thing.
Hurricane Katrina.
So to see Bernie come out and say, no, this is what we need, right? Like we need to release aid for Puerto Rico. We need to make sure that the debt goes away because there is no way that they're going to be able to recover.
Sí, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Like a coffee, like when you leave a coffee
You just
right
leave-
there, ya lo dejaste reposado ahí,
Yeah.
right?
Have you ever heard of the band Reposado?
No, I haven't.
No?
Anywhere?
Yeah, Puerto Rico band.
Puerto Rico band? Okay. I like there's a local band called Misa de Gallo.
Miso.
Yeah,
de
Misa
Gallo.
de Gallo.
Yeah.
Misa de Gallo.
How do you spell that?
M-I-S-A and an E, and Gallo is G-A-L-L-O. Misa de Gallo.
Excellent. Thank you.
It's like a very early oh my god, service from a church.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
That's the Misa Gallo.
Sí,
Yeah.
sí. Okay.
Yeah, is that okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can see, La Cascada is actually a magical waterfall in Puerto Rico. Every single amazing musician that has came from Puerto Rico went to El Yunque. They went into the waterfall and they cleansed their aura and they received the energy from Mama Tierra in La Cascada. That waterfall is where Jean-Paul Willes hiked up the mountain and walked into the same waterfall that all the greats cleansed themselves in. And in El Yunque is where Jean-Paul Willes found himself. In La Isla de Encanto, the island of enchantment in Puerto Rico. La historia es real, it's a real story. They say, yeah, after the last tour around the country, he left Los Estados Unidos, he left the United States to go tap into the rhythms, the African rhythms, the Latin sounds, the harmonies, the rhythm of the Taino people, the natives, and he went to the Caribbean. They said he hiked into the mountains of El Yunque, and he's never been seen since.
No problem. You good?
rabia acumulada. Hay algo que se está acumulando, un sentimiento descontrolado, contenido, con necesidad de un tato. Ese sentimiento acumulado es una semilla, es rabia engendrada y enterrada en la tierra. Esa rabia engendrada y enterrada en la tierra, acumulada en la mente y contenida en tinta, vestida de negro, no de luto sino de lucha. Esa que está contenida en rojo de las venas, en la presión cardíaca, en las venas brotadas de un grito de libertad. Esa rabia acumulada que corretea por las calles, que se convierte en llama, en humo, en gritos, mientras los tanques, las balas del plan fiscal y la fuerza del choque están a un lado, del otro lado de nuestra resistencia en oposición. Esa rabia contenida en libros y en historias ocultas, esa rabia intelectual caminando por los pasillos de la universidad, desesperada y sin trabajo, endeudada, rabia acumulada en los textos, en los sexos, en la diversidad de la sociedad salvaje, rabia que corre mis arterias y hace que mi corazón palpite. Esa es la voluntad de ser libre. Que el corazón de un grito nos vibre, impulso natural, al perseguir con rabia su libertad.
Por aquí.
Rabia acumulada.
Por aquí. ¿Quieres por aquí?
Sí, directo.
The screams should be heard and vibrate.
Pedro Rosselló. He was a Harvard-educated governor of Puerto Rico. He believed in reducing the size of government, aka hatcheting into funding programs of public benefit. He reduced the size of the state-run Puerto Rico telephone company to the size where he could drown it in the bathtub. Between Rosselló's selling most of PRTC and Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996, which deregulated and killed off critical small market media outlets, also passed off the PRTC to private ownership. He was tough on crime, just not his own. Corruption was rampant in his administration, which would see most of it dismissed. His son, Ricardo, would write a book praising his father's governorship, learning all his lessons, and contempt for the people of Puerto Rico. In support of statehood, Ricardo Rosselló once stated that colonialism is not an option. It is a civil rights issue. The time will come in which the United States has to respond to the demands of 3.5 million citizens seeking absolute democracy. It was like a drop of water laced with carcinogens, a harmless little text passed from the governor to his colleagues. To him, it was nothing. Throwaway line. It showed how he and elected officials really felt about the people of the island. This and a series of other texts would be leaked to the public, leading about a third of the population to the street in protest. Some estimates report that as many as 1 million people came to the protests. Protests, at times, fell into violence as the police provoked protesters. Some say the Constitution extends only till 11 p.m. tear gas, which is illegal in times of war, but somehow accepted when dealing with protesters, was hurled into the crowds. Eventually, after days of protest, Governor Roseo stepped down.
Puerto Rico, la colonia más antigua, un día se va a liberar. Esto es en nombre de usted, que se tiene que joder para buscarse el pan y el café, mientras otros se reparten, entre ellos la Boriquén. Este es 7-9, Luis Díaz, Emil Martínez y SJ. Pícalo, gallo.
Yo salí del ojo del huracán. Ah, na, 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 na. Oye.
Despierta.
Sam, you got that look in your eye. You got that look in your eye. Make it nasty, baby. Make it nasty. Uh-oh. Stand back. Stand back. It's about to get a little crazy.
And that happened with all the greats. When everyone took a stand, people get scared. And that's the energy that Tequila Funk, Reposado, Jumbo Builes can bring into a place, can change the whole vibe. I've walked into rooms with this place and no one's dancing. No one. We break it down so hard, people get a little scared, a little intimidated up in Seattle. You take that same energy somewhere else, and you can blow the minds, open the hearts, loosen the bodies. So people might get scared of his power, but that power could change the world.
Yo soy la muerte, yo soy la muerte soy, yo soy la muerte.
So more than clave,
Yo soy la
more than
muerte.
clave,
That's death, right?
Cowbell. So our history has a lot of assassinations. The last leader who was assassinated was Filiberto Ojeda, who was supposed to be the main leader of the Macheteros, the clandestine organization. So they killed him in the day of, we celebrate Lares, which was the uprising against the Spanish. And so the revolutionaries declared the First Republic in Lares, which is a town in the middle of the country. And so, since we celebrate that day, they killed him the same day to make it even worse, you know. 2005.
Por ahí está, por eso, medio de los 2000.
Sí, más o menos, exacto.
Have you ever heard of the band Ray Pasada?
No, I haven't.
No?
No. Sorry.
Pretend you have.
Okay.
What's a band you like?
What?
What's a band that you like?
To oppose independence. Well, listen, right now in Latin America, if you look at Chile, Bolivia, they have a coup d'etat against, what's his name? No. Allende too, but the one recent, Febo, what's his name? Who is an Indian guy, you know? And so Bolivia. In Ecuador, also Correa was out. And the guy who's second to Correa, he became a traitor. And so, you know this guy from Wikipedia, what's his name?
I remember WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Julian Assange. He was in London in the Ecuador embassy.
Right.
So since Correa was out, they got him, you know, and we don't know what they're doing to him, you know. So the struggle is all over Latin America, all over. In Brazil, Chile, you know. In Mexico, the new president is a left-wing, you know, president. So there have always been the persecution, but historically, like in Puerto Rico was, and Cuba was the last colonies of the Spanish
It's like a service
Empire.
from a church.
And so a lot of the people who came from Venezuela after the revolution, they came to Puerto Rico, and they were reactionaries who opposed, you know, the struggle for independence in Puerto Rico. The first Cuban exiles from the Cuban Revolution in '59, they came to Puerto Rico and they organized against the independence, and they have organizations that kill pro-independence people, you know. And one of the reasons that the clandestine organization came back is because we have to defend ourselves. And so they were backed by the FBI and the CIA. So the Cubans, exiles, have been used against every revolutionary movement or government in Latin America. And then my parents moved to the north. And to me, it was like a different country, because the south is very dry, and the north is more, you know, rainy.
agreements now will be single instead of having 188
but Governor, my question
processes.
My
we
question
will have
was, there are 100,000 people on the streets, politicians of all stripes, the President of the United States, all saying you need to go, that this is enough. You've said no. Why not?
Well, there's an important component about rule of law and democracy, and I respect that process. We will have and we will propose certain mechanisms so that within the future that process can go forward. My contention is that I need to work beyond politics so that we can address some of the long-standing problems of corruption here in Puerto Rico and fix that problem. I have a proposal that I sent to several of the aides of the president that we've been working on. I've had a record of what we have done and things that we want to do moving forward.
Governor,
those include
frankly, Governor, excuse the interruption, but I have a limited amount of time. The corruption is rampant in Puerto Rico. Economically, Puerto Rico is in a fiscal crisis, $70 billion in debt, in a 13-year recession, in the leaked nearly 900 pages of profanity-laced messages now dubbed Rickygate after you, sir. You made light of the casualties of Hurricane Maria. You casually tossed homophobic and misogynistic remarks. You were calling the Puerto Rican former New York City Council Speaker, Melissa Mark Vivierto, a whore. Of the oversight board that controls Puerto Rico's finances, you said, go F yourself. And when your representative to that board said he's salivating to shoot the woman who's the mayor of San Juan, you said you'd be doing me a grand favor. So attacks on women, attacks on gays, attacks on the dead relatives of your own residents across your own island, and after all that, who's left to support you? And is it even safe for you to continue to attempt to govern?
Well, again, I've apologized for that. I'm making amends for all of those efforts.
You've apologized for what,
this was,
specifically, Governor?
For all of the comments that I've made on the chats. That is one thing. There's another effort that needs to move forward, which is the battling of corruption. Look, we have implemented the
corruption was in your own administration,
$15.5
million, and 5 people who were on those chats, you got rid of all of them. They are now out of the government, but you remain. Doesn't the buck stop with your office, Governor?
That's right, but I was elected by the people of Puerto Rico.
And those people are on the streets of your biggest city today saying, we want you out. That's the headline in the main newspaper. And the politicians on both sides of the political aisle on your own island are saying the exact same thing. You're a man on an island by yourself. How long can you stay there?
My effort and my commitment is to follow through on some of the efforts that I established for the people of Puerto Rico. That includes establishing, again, a plan that I've already circulated with the members within the White House so that we can battle this corruption, so that we can tackle what government employees are doing, what we are doing as elected officials, and a collaboration with the federal government. This is the biggest recovery effort in the United States history. It's important to state that we have the biggest STEP program in the United States for homes. The IG came over here, the federal IG, and they established that nothing went wrong on that program. So there are a lot of efforts that we've been doing now. If you want to drain the swamp, you need to tackle those problems.
Governor, who's come forward to support you in the middle of this chaos?
There are folks that have supported me.
Who specifically is supporting you today?
The rule of law. There are people.
Okay,
you just
could you
have
give me one
to
name?
see them out there. There is a protest. Well, I've talked
just one name,
to people
Governor.
From different groups. A lot of people from the administration.
Governor, you're not able to give me the name of one person in
established.
Puerto Rico who supports you continuing this government.
Oh yeah, you got a little mixed up, huh? Or got a little bit of clarity, a little bit of both.
You can see, La Cascada is actually a magical waterfall in Puerto Rico. Every single amazing musician that has came from Puerto Rico went to El Yunque. They went into the waterfall and they cleansed their aura and they received the energy from Mama Tierra in La Cascada. That waterfall is where Jean-Paul Huiles hiked up the mountain and walked into the same waterfall that all the greats cleansed themselves in. And in El Yunque is where Jean-Paul Huiles found himself, in La Isla de Encanto, the island of enchantment in Puerto Rico. La historia es real, it's a real story.
So they say John Paul moved up to these mountains. You think he's gonna find it up here?
I don't know. It depends on which form it comes into. You know? Got a heart.
Yo, I'm gonna need something. Y'all with me? I'm gonna need that. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. 1, 2.
Reposado. Yeah, ya tú sabes. Hey fellas, let's give these people what they need, man. Yeah. When you need some water for your soul, who's gonna fill your cup? Reposado. Reposado. When you're feeling down and out, who's gonna lift you up? Reposado. 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 Come on, hit it. Who's gonna spark that light? Reposado. Reposado. And when they doing you wrong, who's gonna do you right? Reposado. Reposado. Tequila funk. Woo. Yeah. Now take a shot. Yeah. Come on. Tequila funk. Feel it in your chest. Go take a shot. You now rockin' with the band. Reposado. Reposado. Reposado.
there's bleak news out of places like Puerto Rico, but then there's
a
great
lot
promise
of
in the 33rd
There's
Ward.
a lot of space for hope right now, and the beautiful thing is that it's not the kind of hope that you just passively wait for, but it's a hope that we can actually touch. It's a hope that we can help mold and build together, and it's beautiful to do that with other people who believe the same thing.
Rosanna, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You can listen to other episodes of The Vast Majority as well as our other Jacobin podcasts at Jacobin Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, and
Water for your soul. Who's gonna fill your cup? Reposado. Reposado. And when you're feeling down and out, who's gonna lift you up? Reposado. 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 Come on! We gonna give it to you, but you better give it back. You know what I'm saying? This is a team effort. We gonna do it right. Come on. Let's cook it up a little bit. Cook it up a little bit. Cook it up. Fellas, ready? Come on. Take it over. Now ready? Now take a shot. Come on. Take it over. Yeah. Come on. Now take a shot. Yeah. Come on. Take it over. Yeah. Come on. Now take a shot. Yeah. Say it with your chest. Take it over. Come on. Come on. Now take a shot. Yeah. Come on. Hey yo, Sam, you got that look in your eye. You got that look in your eye. Make it nasty, baby, make it nasty. Uh-oh. Stand back, stand back. It's about to get a little crazy. That was too nasty, Sam. It was way too nasty.